Switch Radio Sport. This is Switch.
Worcester City win that game and they will be in Division 1 Midlands next season.
Chance in ball control. Job's got chance in the penalty. Gets shot in and goes to the back of the net. And Cheyenne Jarvis gets the second goal for Leaford Athletic this afternoon. Found space in the 6-yard box.
Back to the edge of the penalty area with the pass. Cross in towards the back post. Headed goalwards and in.
That's a great shot from De Castro. Oh, what a save for Gray. And the Red Kid 2-0.
Stourbridge have won the Division 1 Midlands title.
The Women's Football Chat on Switch Radio.
Good evening and welcome along to this week's episode of the Women's Football Chat. My name is Chris Gadsby. I'm here every week bringing you the very latest from the third and fourth tiers of women's football here in England. That's the FA Women's National League. And, well, it's a bit of a slow one. The majority of the games were in the Women's FA Cup. We'll go through those in a moment, which means it was a very reduced programme in the FA Women's National League. And, well, there's barely anything coming up this weekend. This weekend, the last weekend before Christmas, is an alternate weekend, which means that as anyone who had games postponed, they could slot them in here. Not many teams have, and some that have chosen to use a different weekend a bit further in the future. So there's very little to look ahead to this weekend as we near the Christmas break. We do have two good interviews for you as well this week on the show. Luke Beardsmore, assistant at Leafield Athletic, gives John Foster his views on the start of the season and a recap of their game in the FA Cup. And then Kevin Moore speaks to Harry Rowe a little bit later on as well of Sutton Coldfield Town. But we will crack straight on with the results from the past 7 days. And of course, the majority of them are the Women's FA Cup third round. I think the best thing that's come out of this week is not only the third round results, but also the fourth round draw, which has a few absolute crackers in it. We'll start then with the results from the third round of the Women's FA Cup. Nottingham Forest beating Wolverhampton Wanderers on Channel 4 on Saturday by 2-1. Georgia Marshall just before the hour mark with the only goal for Wolves. Middlesbrough 3-0 winners over AFC Fylde. They have no goals at all in this one. The only goal that's been put on the system is an own goal, and that's only 1 out of the 3. Durham, they lost to Sheffield United by 1-0. Burnley beat Peterborough United by 7-0. It was only 2-0 at half time though. Charlie Chadwick and Yana Daniels with the goals at half-time. But then Charlie Doherty, Millie Ravening, Emma Siddle, Claudia Walker with 2 there as well, all popping up in the second half to give Burnley a very convincing win. Newcastle United of the Championship beat Liverpool Feds by 4-0. West Bromwich Albion 3-0 winners away at Leeds United, although they haven't put any information at all on their full-time system. Of course, it's FA Cup, so it's a little bit different with regards to that in comparison to the league. Birmingham City 6-0 winners over Sporting Cowser. Hull City beat Mancunian Unity by 2-1. A great effort from the fifth tier side. Hope Knight and Jessica Tugby-Andrew with the goals for Hull City. Sunderland beat Derby County by 5-1. Shem Muir in the 4th minute scored for Derby. They had a great start to the game, but losing Jessica Melrose on the hour mark made their life very difficult towards the end. 6th tier Altrincham, they lost to York City by 3-0. Ruby Watt in the 22nd minute, Katie Astle in the 23rd, and Katie Varley in the 89th minute for York. Onto the second page, Sutton United 0, Chatham Town 3 goals in this one for Chatham, Otesha Charles, Amelia Woodgate and Amy Russ. Southampton 10-0 winners over 5th tier Royston Town. Not really a surprise, Championship beating regional Premier Division, but a great effort from Royston Town. I'm sure they had a great day. Dartford of tier 5 only lost to London Bees in extra time by 3 goals to 2. Samantha Gabbion had put London Bees in front in the first minute, Millie Isherwood in the 26th, but Dartford, great effort from them. And if it wasn't for Breon Fowles' goal in the extra time period, 4 minutes into extra time, Dartford could have pulled off a little bit of a shock there. Bristol City 2, Portsmouth 0 in the All Championship tie. AFC Bournemouth 5-0 winners over Fulham. Ipswich Town 5-0 winners over 5th tier AFC Porchester. Great afternoon for Porchester, and 5-0 against a Championship side is a very respectable scoreline indeed. Oxford United against Plymouth Argyle. Oxford winning that by 2 goals to 1 in that All-Southern Premier Division tie. Late goals, though, for Oxford United. Eleanor Noble in the 15th minute had put Plymouth in front. It was only losing Olivia Francis in the 52nd minute that probably helped Oxford bring this game back. Ruby Seeley, 86th minute, and then Emma Thompson in 90+5, snatching it right at the end and denying extra time. Charlton Athletic beating Watford by 3 goals to 2. Watford's goals, Megan Chandler and Coral Jade Haynes. Leaford Athletic 2, Swindon Town 3. Leaford Athletic then. Swindon, of course, going so well at the top of Division 1 South West. Leaford Athletic, it took a 94th minute. In fact, they were leading 2-0 in this game. Gemma Fraser 13th minute, Evangeline Gallup 34th minute, put Leaford Athletic in front at the break. It was Annabelle Colston, a hat-trick for Swindon, 55 and then 84 and 90+4. So heartbreak for Leaford Athletic. It's Swindon Town who march on. And then Lewis lost to Crystal Palace by a goal to 0. What that means then, we've had the 4th round draw as well. It goes national at this point. There are some great ties in there. Charlton Athletic of the Championship against Swindon Town of South West. AFC Bournemouth get to host Manchester City, which is a great tie for them. Ipswich Town, Sheffield United, all Championship. Oxford United, Middlesbrough, all Tier 3. So we're guaranteed a FAWNL side in round 5. Chatham Town against York City, so we're guaranteed a 4th tier side in round 5, which is great. Arsenal Aston Villa, Manchester United Burnley, so good trip for Burnley to get to go there. Southampton Bristol City, it was obviously above the FAWNL. London Bees of Tier 4 get to host Liverpool of the Super League, so great for London Bees. Spurs against Leicester City, Brighton against Forest, Chelsea Palace, Newcastle West Ham, Sunderland London City Lionesses, West Brom hosting Everton, and Hull City hosting Birmingham City as well. So we're guaranteed there's 10 sides, Tier 3 and 4 left. Hull City, we're guaranteed a Tier 4 side, York City or Chatham Town. Oxford United or Middlesbrough, we're guaranteed a Tier 3 side. I believe then, based on the current league standings, that makes York City the lowest ranked side left in the competition as 10th in Division 1 North. Believe that to be the case. There's nobody left in that is lower than that in there, because Sudbury and Chesham aren't there, Portishead and Worthing aren't there, and Stourbridge, Lincoln United aren't there, and nor Doncaster or Blackburn. So York City, the lowest ranked side left in the FA Cup, and we are going to get a 4th tier side in the 5th round, which is great for the FAWNL and the FA Cup as a whole. Heartbreak then for Leafield Athletic after they conceded those late goals against Swindon to exit the FA Cup. But earlier this week, John Foster spoke to the interim manager of Leafield Athletic, Luke Beardsmore. Tash Tesdil is taking a step back after her and her partner Soph welcomed their baby girl Ella into the world on Wednesday. So has taken a step back, and everyone here at the Women's Football Chat and Switch Sport is very, very happy for them. But John Foster, he spoke to Luke Beardsmore earlier this week about the season so far and that FA Cup exit.
Fantastic FA Cup run came to an end last Sunday. First of all, your thoughts on that game, the 3-2 loss against Swindon Town?
Yeah, I think it was a game of two halves, really. Going in 2-0 up at half-time, we're gutted about losing, especially from that position. Definitely a game of two halves. I think the weather affected it, but which is partially a reason why I think we were probably on top in the first half, and then they had the win in the second half, and we just couldn't see it out for that last kind of 10 minutes. But yeah, look, Swindon are a good team, and they've got some really good players. I mean, so yeah, fair play to them, but to go out that way is upsetting.
Yeah, we understand that last-minute goal must have been gutting at that time as well. But you did go into half-time 2-0 up. What do you think changed in that second half? You mentioned the wind. Was there any substitutions, anything tactical? Did Swindon just come out a better side, do you think?
Yeah, we expected a reaction. Obviously, when you're 2-0 up, you're looking to just kind of hold on to that lead, maybe nick another one. Just shore the game up as much as you can. I think they got a goal probably 10 minutes into the half, and then we did really well for probably half an hour. We were kind of riding their attacks and things like that, and defending really well. And then you could only soak up so much of that pressure. So yeah, obviously you can kind of look at things in hindsight, and maybe we should have changed some things, or you always reflect differently as to what you would have done on the day, kind of thing. So we'll look back on the positives and what we can take from the game. But other than that, I think based off their second half performance and how clinical their striker is, they were probably worthy winners from that second half.
Well, speaking about positives, Gemma Fraser opened the scoring for you, a great left-footed shot. She joined you in the summer. How do you think she has settled into the team this season, and also just a performance on the weekend?
Yeah, Gemma's brilliant. She's a class player. She's absolutely rapid, and she's a lovely person as well. She's lovely to be around, and she's joined in really well with the group. She's such a threat on the pitch. She just needs that freedom on the pitch, I think, to kind of go and express herself and go and play her football. And she's kind of an all-round player as well. She can drop in and get the ball with those technical little bits, and then she can also stretch teams in behind and use that pace to go and get in behind like she did on Sunday, and she did it really well. Yeah, the goal was excellent. A bit of composure to kind of cut back in onto a weaker foot, and then the finish was excellent as well. So yeah, she's been brilliant for us, and hopefully the second half of the season we can see the same from her.
And Evie Gallop added the second on 34 minutes. A whopping 16 goals of her for Leafield this season. Top goal scorer. She's on fine form, isn't she?
Yeah, Evie's been excellent. She was brilliant for us last season, and she's arguably been even better this year. She just so direct, and she wants to take players on, but the main thing is she wants to learn as well. She always wants to be better, and as a coach, that's all I can ask for. All I can ask for from a player is that you want to be better and that you want to learn and things like that. And yeah, her attitude is just, it's really, really good. So yeah, again, similar to Gemma, like them two have been a big goal source for us, and hopefully they can push on and keep providing goal contributions for the team and excelling individually as well.
And Swindon Town went into that game top of Division 1 South West. Just a word on their performance.
Obviously, we knew going into the game that they were unbeaten and that they'd beaten some higher opposition and things like that going into it. They're a good side. They've got some really good players, and I always think that now the kind of tier 4 that we're in, some teams have tier 3 quality players, and I think Swindon definitely fall into that category, and I'd say that we do as well. But yeah, they were very disciplined, and I think we kind of had them in that first half, probably with Gemma's pacing behind and things like that. And then in that second half, they kind of got it down a bit more and played, and that kind of switch was quite good from them. So yeah, I quite like that they had kind of two styles of play, and you can definitely see with the quality of their players that why they're unbeaten at the top of their league. And like I say, that Annie Colston, she's an excellent player. She is. Fair play, and all the best for them in the next round.
And moving forward, how have the players responded since Sunday, hopefully taking the positives from the FA Cup run as a whole?
Yeah, they've taken some positives from it. If you look at the run as a whole, the FA Cup run, you've got some really positive performances in there, let alone results. So you look at the Spalding game, that was a good result, whereas the Worcester game was a good performance. And then obviously just got through on pens. So yeah, we have to take the positives from it, and we've still got a league to go and challenge for. And that's what the kind of message was the day after the game. Cup runs are nice and everything, but your consistency in the leagues where you really show what kind of team you are. So yeah, we'll be looking to bounce back in the new year and go and find that form that we know we're capable of with the players we've got.
So no game for Leafield until 4th of January now. Leafield appear to be a close group who interact with each other off the pitch too. How will you and Tatch approach the Christmas period regarding a mixture of training, but also a bit of downtime for the players as well?
Yeah, so they'll probably have about 10 days off to kind of go and reset, especially after, we've had some really tough games recently all in a row. Kind of, if you look at our recent games with Lincoln being called off, I think we've just gone through and played like Peterborough, Boldmere, Swindon. So, some really tough games in there. So I think this reset will be good for them. And then to come back we'll be training before Sheffield. So we'll come back into training over the new year and then go into that Sheffield game fit and ready to go.
You just mentioned that Sheffield game there, a team that leapfrogged you with their win last Sunday. They're on 23 points from 12 games. You're on 21 points from 10 games. It's a big game, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously we know we've got those games in hand, but you still have to, it doesn't really mean anything, does it? You've still got to get the points on the board. It's the most important thing. They're on a great run at the minute, Sheffield, and, I've watched a few of their games and things like that, and we had a close game when they came to our place and we only just won in the last kind of 10 minutes. So yeah, we'll go there with a plan, obviously, like every game, but yeah, they're flying at the minute and they're getting results, and another good result on Sunday against Kiddie. But we know what we're capable of, and, we go into every game in this league confident that we can come out of it with something. With the quality we've got in the team, we should be thinking that way, and we shouldn't be thinking any other way. So it won't change going into the second half of the season. And I think that's the main thing. We just have to be confident about what we can do as a team.
Yeah, you just mentioned it there about winning those two games in hand. It's not easy to do it, especially at this level. Just your thoughts on the league campaign this season. You are sitting fifth, but you do have those two games in hand.
I think it's different for us this season, where I think there's more expectation on us this year than last year. And last year we were a bit of an unknown package with me and Tash coming in and quite a few new players coming in and things like that. And now this season we've still brought some new people in, but it's not as different of a group. And with us finishing fourth last year, teams are looking at us and they're approaching games differently and things like that. So there's different challenges for us to navigate. That probably shows in how close our games have been. I think we're doing well. We're on the right track. In the second half of the season, those big games just become even bigger now with how tight it is up there. We still believe that every position is up for grabs and we can go and exploit our mistakes from other teams and things like that. But all we can do is focus on ourselves and just go game by game. And if we win every game, we know we'll put ourselves in a good position to kind of be up there and be in and around it.
And it's West Bromwich Albion away in the County Cup next month. Date to be confirmed. Is there one eye on that one, Luke?
Yeah, it's hard. Without it being a confirmed date yet, it's hard to focus on that. The league is so important to us, especially coming off the back of the FA Cup. We just want to focus on the league and try and get some consistency back into us, especially with having October kind of all full of cup games, and then we've only played a couple of league games and then back into a cup again. I think we just need a consistent run of league games again to kind of get our flow back. But yeah, we're looking forward to that game. Obviously, it's a big opportunity in the County Cup. Having already played West Brom this year, we'll go into it with a plan and we'll look to exploit some of the things from that last game that we had against them. But yeah, as of right now, I'd say that full focus is on Sheffield, and as soon as a date's confirmed for that, we'll switch our focus when necessary. Yeah, we just need some consistency back into the fixture list, I think.
And finally, Luke, Tash Tesgal shared her good news last week on social media. Her and her partner Soph welcomed the arrival of baby Ella. Have you heard from Tash at all, and how are they?
They're doing really well. I'm delighted for Tash, and everyone at the club is, and she sends photos in and stuff, and she just looks over the moon. Yeah, I have no doubt that they'll be over the moon as well. And as far as I know, Ella's doing really well. So yeah, I'm happy to see everything's gone smoothly and they're doing well as a family.
So that's the FA Cup. We'll have a look now at the results from the domestic, it's like the FA Cup's international, from the league fixtures over the past 7 days. Southern Premier Division, this isn't going to take very long to fly through. Gwalior United 1, Exeter City 6. Cassie Gregson in the 8th minute. Leah Burridge was the only goal for Gwalior United. Then for Exeter City, Ishbel Zermond with 2, Georgia Vaccaro with 2, Leah Burridge with 1, and Sophie Gillies with 1. What that means for the league table, Exeter City are up 2 places to 6th. Oxford United and Lewis both drop a spot, but of course they weren't playing in the league. Gwalior United remain in 11th. Division 1 Midlands then. Kidderminster Harriers 0, Sheffield 1, Stourbridge 1, Sutton Coldfield Town 1, Worcester City 1, Barnsley Women's 0, and Boldmere St Michael's 7, Lincoln United 2. For Sheffield, Graham Abercrombie getting the Manager of the Month for Tier 4. Darcy Dickens, the only goal of the game in the 75th minute, another 3 points for them. Sophie Phillips in the 40th minute with the goal for Stourbridge, but Amber Downs 5 minutes from time getting Sutton Coldfield back level. Worcester City 1, Barnsley Women's 0. Barnsley Women's losing then. Worcester City taking the valuable 3 points for them. Their goal coming to Kay Haggett in the 19th minute, but the big win was for Boldmere St Michael's against Lincoln United. 2 for Sarai Hutchinson off the bench, 2 for Leonie Joyce off the bench, Annie Ackroyd, Olivia Mitchum and Riddy Ruparella with a goal as well. What it means for the Division 1 Midlands table, Boldmere St Michael's top it then with 30 points from their 12 games. Peterborough United dropped to second, but they do have 2 games in hand. Barnsley Women's remain third. Sheffield are 4th now. They go above Leeford Athletic, who dropped to 5th. Worcester City 6th, Notts County 7th. Those two have swapped, and the bottom 5 all remain the same. Now, there was that 1-1 draw for Sutton Coldfield Town away at Stourbridge at the weekend. Harry Rowe is the Sutton Coldfield Town manager, and after the game, he spoke to Kevin Moore.
Harry, share the sports today. 1-1 draw against Stourbridge, the last game for the mid-season break. A point on the road against your local rivals is always a positive. But any team, in any situation, you'd take a point on your travels. But I think towards the tail end of the game, you probably felt you could have pinched it as well.
Yeah, I think across the course of 90 minutes, I do feel like we were creating better chances. I felt like we were definitely dangerous and creating good opportunities. And I think they had a few half chances where they've had balls in behind, but I felt like across the 90 minutes, we created the better chances, especially second half. We got the ball in wide areas often. We looked threatening, getting bodies around the box, and it just did feel like one of those days where it just weren't going to fall to us. I think the amount of times that the ball entered the final third and just dropped to a Stourbridge foot, and like you say, at the end, it's cleared basically off the line from a good defending, to be fair. And look, like you said, it's you never did complain about coming here and taking a point. Would have liked all 3, and we came here with the aim of taking all 3, but I think across the course of 90 minutes, we deserved something from the game. I felt like if we'd have lost that game, it would have been harsh on us. But yeah, look, you take the point on the road, you're proud of the girls and the character and the way that they came back after not an ideal first half in terms of, going the goal behind. I thought the second half they were fantastic, so full credit to them. Yeah,
Sophie Phillips scored on the 40-minute mark to put Stourbridge in front, and he did create chances. Eva Cassidy was causing problems up front as well, but it was a bit frustrating the first half. You felt you didn't boss the midfield as much as you should have done really in the first 45 minutes of play.
Yeah, it's something we spoke about. We spoke about when we were playing in 1 and 2 touch, we looked really good, really threatening, we looked like we were going to control the game, but it was too few and far between moments of almost falling into the same game that they wanted to play. The transition game, the game where it's counter-attacking, the game where it's put it in behind and go and chase and put it into the good areas. I felt like we, in the second half, getting on the ball, trusting it, but also being a little bit better, making better decisions, looking after the ball a little bit more and how we can try and hurt them. And we spoke about the 1v1 battles in midfield and how we could go and win those battles. And I thought second half on midfield were outstanding. I felt like every time the ball dropped, it was a Sutton ball that came and won. And then my back lines backed up really, really well. And it did feel like we were constantly in their half, constantly pushing rather than being on the other end where it's you're holding on to something.
You mentioned about the changes in between 2 halves. I mean, first I thought Chloe Dan played really well. Don't really want to single out any sort of players really, but in that respect though, I thought Chloe Dan was causing a lot of problems on the flank as well, getting balls in the penalty area. But you made some changes obviously. You 1-0 down at the break. I didn't really sense you wanted to make any change for the first 10-15 minutes anyway, but you did make some change, bringing on Jodie Price in particular. And of course Amber Downs comes on and scores on her debut. Yeah. Great start for her to start a career for Sutton. But that was quite telling that when she came, she certainly made an impact. And I think Amber Downs and Eva Cassidy, I know it's early days yet, it's only Amber's first real game for the club, but nevertheless, when you made the changes, I think Stourbridge were on the back foot a little bit. They all of a sudden they started sitting back deeper, didn't they? Did you expect that to happen though? Was it sit back quite deep in the second half, Harry?
I think it was more a case of how can we change up front. We had some good success in the first half at creating chances in the wide areas, but I felt like we needed a little bit more dynamics up there. We needed not just runners in behind. I felt like we needed someone that was going to come and be strong, come and hold the ball up, But the one thing with Amber is, even though she's strong and tall and can hold it up, she will also run. She will work, and she worked incredibly hard. And I think that was shown by 5 minutes into the turtle on off the pitch. She puts in an unbelievable slide tackle defending our own box. And look, like I said, it's early days, and we don't quite know the partnerships that are going to come through yet. I think Eva's been superb at linking with other site partners recently, and hopefully with that can spark a partnership. But we're constantly trying to improve. We're constantly trying to look to when we're on the pitch, we're trying to look to see where can we exploit them, where can we get in behind, where can we hurt them. And I felt like with those changes, it was a positive change. I felt like they were positive. I felt like it changed our attack. And like you said, it maybe gave Stowers a little bit of fear in terms of we could then play into the front line, not just over it. So like you said, they started to drop. They started to get worried about the spaces we can exploit. And I think it made a real difference.
Emily Hornsby, I thought, hard today as well. Tired towards the end. I mean, some players, it's a long shift for all of them, really, to be fair. You know, coming towards the mid-season break, it's been an arduous season already for the players, amount of games and extra cup matches being played as well. But you're making changes, though, and bringing on Amber Taylor as well. I think it'd be fair to say that Amber Taylor's got a lot of pace to burn, really. You've now got, I mean, we talked at the start of the season, didn't we, Harry, that you're building a squad, and it took time to get the numbers you want on board for the squad for the entire season. You've now got a rich abundancy in terms of options for firepower going forward. And that can improve the second half of the season, because I know Tiara Heeman's on the bench this afternoon, he's now rejoined the club. But bringing on players like Amber Downs and bringing on players like Amber Taylor, it's nice to have the options going forward now for the second half of the season. Yeah,
it's almost like we're sport for choice. You know, at the start of the season, we were pretty happy with our defensive options. We were pretty happy with our midfield options, but we felt like the front line could do with a little bit more. And like, you know, with the football world, different players come in and give different things. Different players leave clubs randomly across the course of the year. So it's just about being clever. It's about recognising who you think can come and affect your starting 11, who you think can come and challenge and come and help Sutton. And like, we haven't got it right always this season. We've signed a few that have, for whatever reason, then moved on to other clubs, and we wish them all the best. But I think it's important that we keep a lookout. I'm not necessarily going to go and say we're constantly looking for new players. Of course not. I'm really happy with the group I've got, and I think Amber and T coming back into the fold really makes it a complete squad. But like, you know, with women's football, you know when players are unhappy, and you know when players are potentially available, and football will change all the time. So yeah, it's something we're really keen on. We want to make sure that we build not just a good 11, we want a good squad. We want to be able to come and bring on those different options and bring on those different bits of firepower, because like you're saying today, it makes a real difference.
It does, yeah.
When you've got different options and you've got alternatives, it makes it really difficult to defend against, and it's something we're really pleased with. Hopefully, like you say, it can mean that coming into next year we're scoring more goals and we're being really, really threatening in the final third. Quite
a high number of class utility players who can play more than one position, and when you bring on players like Charlotte Worth in the second half, who can slot in and take over on the right hand side and help out on that part of the pitch as well, and also Abby Jackson, I thought played really well in the second half, becoming almost like a natural leader herself going forward. I've seen her grow as a player this season in particular, and we've got experience like Charlotte Worth who can show these players the ropes to a certain point as well. Is that what you're thinking? You've got more firepower in the second half of the season, but you actually start to see groups of players saying, like, I want you not just one position for the entire season. You need to sort of swap things over and play defensively or midfield or play a role for a particular game. Is that going to be one of the sort of key things you want to sort of keep on working on for the remainder of the season now? Have a squad, more utility players going forward, Harry?
Yeah, look, you've got to be adaptable in this league, and it's really important that you pick your 11 knowing that you could change system. We look at our 11s and we look at, well, what's plan B, what's plan C? Yeah. How can we keep the players on the pitch and maybe manoeuvre some around to give us a different option, or how can we go and look at those, like you say, utility players? I think they're important. I think when you're not a professional football team and you're not full time, you can't build your perfect squad. So it's important you've got 2 or 3 that can do a job in certain areas. And like you mentioned there, you know, we've got Worthy who plays anywhere across the back line and she's fantastic. You know, we've got Amber Downs, who's been signed as a utility player, who today has come on up front after working all week in a different position and come on and done a job there.
And what a threat going forward as well. But she came on, and an immediate threat straight away, the height as well and the physicality.
And then you look at it, like you said, Abby Jackson, you know, she was suspended last week and you could really tell we missed her. Jacko's great, you know, she likes to live life on the edge a little bit with a little bit of tackles and that aggression, but you need that in the centre half. She loves defending. She's one of those, quite rare in the modern game, that loves to tackle, loves to go and defend. She's one of those that will throw herself into anything, but then also, like you mentioned there, she's got quality on the ball as well. She'll get on the ball, she'll move it, she can play a longer pass, she can step into the midfield. So yeah, she's really come alive this year. You know, obviously I worked with Jacko previously before when I was at Sutton, and we knew there was a player there, but it was about getting it out of her, and I think today she's shown, especially second half, I thought she was fantastic. I thought first half she was shaky and we had a conversation at half time, but I thought second half she was fantastic. You know, in possession, out of possession, dominating that game, winning that battle against a physical striker for Stour, and yeah, I thought she was brilliant.
So Harry, just wrap up then. I mean, like, share the spoils today then, and it's good to hear about the positive things you feel about your squad. It's always a learning process. We know we always knew this season was going to be a season of transition and change. That's probably the two best words to really sort of explain it, really. But good point today, but it means you stay 8th in the table. Interesting results, some other results around you where other teams have dropped points or lost matches, and it's not a given that, the bottom two are going to be the bottom two all season. I think there'll be lots of twists and turns in this division with other teams picking up points against each other as well. But a chance to restock and regroup now before you come back for Worcester City. But if you're going to give yourself a progress report at this stage of the season, you've sensed week by week your players are taking on board the messages on a weekly basis. There's still a lot of work to be done, but you're pleased so far with the progress your squad is making, because we know you've had to build this team very, very late in the summer, Harry.
Yeah, I think I came in with a very interesting job, not one that many managers would want in terms of a complete rebuild.
Yeah.
But look, I think we're going in the right direction. I think we've shown a little bit too much complacency this first half of the season, and we've had that conversation about for the second half we've got to go and push. But targets that we've got set as a group are obviously there, and we're getting there. We're probably a couple points away from where we would like to be, but that's a learning curve for us. We played some key games early where probably the squad hadn't quite gelled the way we wanted it to, but that's no one's at fault but our own. Do you know what I mean? And look, like you said, we're building. We are a transitional year. It's nobody thinks that Sutton aren't in a transitional moment. It's very clear to everybody from the outside that we're going through a transition. But I feel like we're on the right track. I feel like we're looking positive. I feel like the girls every week, apply what we ask of them. They don't ever look short of effort. They never look like they look lost on the football pitch. We have our moments where we're probably not at the races and we get found out a little bit, but I'm pleased with where we are. I do think we can push second half of the season, and I do want us to be looking at up the table rather than over our shoulders at the bottom. But like you've just mentioned there, this league is crazy. I was having a conversation there with the manager in this league about how literally anyone can take points off anyone. Lincoln's drawing 2 goals today, probably people wouldn't have expected that, and you've got Barnsley dropping points and Worcester picking up points, and the teams around us, 1 minute they pick up points, 1 minute they drop points, and it just makes it really difficult. All we can do is affect ourselves. All we can do is focus on ourselves, and it's really important that although we know there are teams that have games and can go and produce certain moments, we have to stay disciplined to us, focus on us, and hopefully push forwards.
Harry Rowe there speaking to Kevin Moore. Let's move on to Division 1 North, where there was only 2 games after Doncaster Rovers against Huddersfield Town was postponed, but they were both significant towards the top of the table. Blackburn Rovers, a 2-2 draw with Cheadle Town Stingers. Cheadle, with Imogen Porteous-Williams, took the lead in the 16th minute. Then 2 goals in a minute. One for Cheadle, Isabel Dean, and one for Blackburn, Ruby Hume, was 2-1. And then Ashley Tirapic in the 89th minute equalised for Blackburn, and Cheadle have dropped 2 points you really feel they probably ought not to have done. Wythenshawe lost 3-0 to Stockport County, and Emily Bradshaw hat-trick in the first half doing the damage for the away side, which means for the table, Wythenshawe miss the opportunity to go top. Cheadle Town Stingers also miss the opportunity to go top. The top 4 remain the same. Stockport County are up to 5th. Chorley dropped down to 6th, and everybody else remains the same as well. Division 1 South East, just 2 games there. Dulwich Hamlet against Luton Town, a 1-1 draw. Natasha Fenson with the goal for Luton Town. Dulwich haven't posted theirs yet. Queen's Park Rangers 2, Milton Keynes Dons 2. Giuseppe Carnival and Madeline Pollard with the goals for Milton Keynes Dons. Anna Dizdiak with the 2 goals for Queen's Park Rangers. 2 draws mean that nothing has changed really in Division 1 South East. Dulwich Hamlet, Luton Town, Milton Keynes Dons in 8th, 9th and 10th have all gained 1 point, so stay where they are. And Queen's Park Rangers are now just level with Chatham Town in 4th, but they remain in 5th on goal difference. Division 1 South West is actually where there was a good number of games, 5 in fact, with only Swindon Town left in the FA Cup. Abingdon United beat Bournemouth Sports by 4-2. Lauren May, Holly Selwood, Molly Ligo-Jackson and Mimi Hodges with their goals. Ellie Elkins and Caitlin Elliott with the goals for Bournemouth Sports, but Abingdon take the 3 points. Narrow victory for Bristol Rovers over Ascot United, but Chloe Bassett in the 3rd minute, what proved to be the only goal of the game. Moneyfields 2-0 up over Bridgewater United. Shannon Albury in the 24th minute with the only recorded goal for Moneyfields. Marine Academy Plymouth 3-0 up over Keynsham Town. Lucy Soloway 47th minute, Samantha Drury 75th, and Sophie Pearce in the 92nd minute. So good win for Marine Academy Plymouth. And Portishead Town, that battle of the bottom two, beating Worthing by 4-2. They've put none of their information up, but Lauren Mariner with 2 goals for Worthing, but they don't get any points from that game. Those 5 games then mean that for the Division 1 South West table, Moneyfields are back at the top, but they're only 1 point ahead of Swindon Town, and Swindon have 2 games in hand. Bristol Rovers 3rd, but 5 points back. Abingdon United are up to 4th, but they're a further 5 points back, with Bridgewater United dropping down to 5th. Maidenhead United and Bournemouth Sports remain 6th and 7th, but it was a good win for Marine Academy Plymouth. That puts them up 2 places to 8th. Keynsham Town and Ascot United dropping to 9th and 10th. And Portishead Town now above Worthing on goal difference, but the bottom of the table there between 12th and 9th separated by just 3 points. Right. This is the last show before Christmas because I'm not doing a show on Christmas Day. So let's have a look at the final fixtures of 2025. Right, Northern Premier Division, what a way to finish the season, the 2025 year. West Bromwich Albion against Wolverhampton Wanderers, the Black Country Derby. Wolves in 2nd can go top at Christmas with a win, or even with a point actually. Will put them top at Christmas. West Brom could go up to 4th if they get the victory. They're currently in 5th. Southern Premier Division, 2 games. AFC Bournemouth against Watford, Plymouth Argyle against Rail Bedford. So the top 2 finish 2025 going head to head, and Plymouth Argyle against Rail Bedford 3rd against 4th, so the top 4 all taking each other on to finish off the year. Rail Bedford can't climb any places. A draw between AFC Bournemouth and Watford could, if Plymouth then win, put them level on points with them, and if they win really, really big, which is unlikely, but they could win by 7 goals, they would end up the 2025 top of the table. Division 1 North, there's 1 game, Durham Sestra against York City, so that is 9th against 10th. It would be great for Durham if they could get the win there and just move themselves to be 7 points clear, to be more than 2 games clear of the relegation zone. But York City, again, if they win, they move more than 1 game clear of the relegation zone. And in Division 1 South East, it's Cambridge United against Fulham, 7th against 2nd. Fulham, if they win, will go top at Christmas. Cambridge United can go up 1 place into the top half of the table, but Fulham will certainly be eyeing up that top spot over the break. Oh, well, I said there wasn't much, only 6 games to go through. So that'll do it for this week's episode of the Women's Football Chat and the Women's Football Chat in 2025. Next week, all of the half-season stats will be coming out over on W Football Chat. We've got the award race leaders as well to do. Update on Football Manager Database. Tier 7's done. Yes. And that's done. The League Cup is done. The FA Cup is done, but seems to be a bit of a bug with it where I can't seem to stop it from putting development and reserve teams in it in the preliminary round and first qualifying round. They all obviously leave pretty quickly, but for some reason they're in there even though I've told it in 5 different ways to not put them in there. So got that to do. County Cups should be relatively straightforward but might end up not being, and then it's just the little League Cups for the FAWNL and tiers 5 and 6. So hopefully should have something pretty soon to put out, and then we can start looking at tiers 8 to 12, which are easy because they're just going to be Subbuteo teams in all honesty. But yes, that'll do it for 2025's Women's Football Chat. Thank you very much for watching throughout the course of the year and the support as well. 2026, well, the start of it at least, looks to be a great season for the FAWNL. I'll be back then in the new year, so have a very, very happy Christmas and goodbye.